Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of United States natural gas, or ticker symbol UNG. And in this video, I will also be going over ticker symbol BOIL, or BOIL, which is the 2X natural gas, as well as KOLD, or KOLD, which is the 2X short natural gas. But first, I'm just going to start with UNG, since this is not leveraged. This is just based on the price of natural gas. And what I did in this, you notice all of the red and green vertical lines that I have drawn up there. Those are based on monthly futures contracts. So at the start of every month, a value is released, which you can see in this table here behind me, which I got from investing.com. And so as you can see, natural gas futures historical data on the monthly time frame. And so what I did is going back to 2019, the beginning of 2019, every time it switched from, green to red or red to green, I put a corresponding line in the graph, in the chart here. And so starting off January, it was red for that month in the futures for 2019. And then the first month in 2019, where it switched from red to green, was in August. And then, so looking at the close of the closing price of that day, going up to the closing price of the day starting the first month that the futures switch from green to red, that represents a 13% increase over this time span from August to, I believe that's November. I believe that's November. So over a few months, and so a 13% increase. That's not incredible, but if you look at these other time periods, this represents a 98% increase. Over here, 84%. This one, 64%. So I do think there's a lot of potential in using monthly futures as buy and sell indicators for natural gas. However, there is some risk. As you notice, this one that I have marked in yellow, that actually represents a loss. So if one were to establish a position when monthly futures switch from red to green, and then sell when it switched from green to red over the course of 2 months, that would represent a loss of 32%. And so of these periods that I've looked at for going long, there were 14, and of those 14, one was actually turning out to be a loss, whereas all others were either flat. I believe 1 or 2 were flat, approximately flat, and all others yielded approximately 10% or higher gains. So I do find this to be a pretty compelling indicator for establishing position and maybe trimming in 10% increments as time goes on, setting sell limits as it goes up, because there is potential to have, a 98% swing on this. And then noting that even if it only goes up 10%, if the next month it switches to red, that is an exit signal. I also want to point out too with BOIL that since it's 2x leveraged, that 98% here with BOIL, that's actually a 247% increase. Others that were around 100% increase, here with BOIL 200%, again here 139%. The negative, however, ended up being about double at 61%. So there is more risk when going leveraged 2x with either BOIL or KOLD, but there's potentially more return. And if you are getting a return of 200%, and you keep your positions, your starter positions, the same, if you gain 200% and then lose 60, you're still at a net gain. So I do think that playing this wisely, not going too heavy, I think this could be a pretty lucrative way to bring in gains without having too much concern, just paying attention to monthly futures, which I will be going over on this channel every month. And before I get into that, I just want to go over KOLD, which also, as natural gas prices go down, KOLD goes up 2x leveraged. So you can get some pretty nice gains with that. This one's 144. I believe one of these that looks smaller is actually higher. This one, which is between, I got to zoom in to see it. I don't want to screw up the axis though. But this represents a 330% gain. So, I think it's pretty, it's a stretch to expect such a gain, but if taking profits, trimming position every 10%, I think that could result in a fairly low risk way to make some gains. And I should note that with KOLD, there was one negative as well, but this, however, only resulted in a drop in 7.58%. So yeah, that seems, like it's a good way to hedge if you're, long natural gas. But if the futures then turn red, you can then still make profit going short natural gas. So I think this is a nice way to go, in and out of the long and short natural gas market, again, based on these futures. And so the next monthly futures will be released next Friday, December 1st. And so I will be going over that in one of these videos. I suspect it will be green. I do expect that natural gas is near a bottom and that December will be a green month for it. But I will be keeping you posted here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe. And if you do like this content, make sure you give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks a lot for watching and happy holidays.